Okay, guys, so this is going to be a video I'm making. I'm calling it the DRTR, the dining room table race. And this is a pretty simple CAD model that I've started. And this CAD model is going to be kind of our second step. So I'm kind of rethinking how we teach CAD. Generally, we taught CAD with kind of complicated parts that were pretty challenging. But what I'm trying to do with this is get people to be faster at CAD. And I really think the secret to that is repetition. Okay, so this is not the most exciting thing. We're not designing a nuclear reactor here. It's nothing super crazy, but it's something that I think you guys can learn to do. And you can probably eventually get to the point of having this done in about 5 minutes. And that will really, really pick up the rate at which students are working in CAD. So I think that's a really important thing. I think being able to do CAD in terms of engineering is kind of probably the biggest skill you need to have. They talk about math being important, but ultimately, if you can't draw stuff, you can't make stuff. So without further ado, let's kind of get started on this. So the first thing I'm going to do is go File, New. And this is kind of the one untraditional thing about this is we're really focusing on drawing in an assembly. So you're going to open up a standard assembly here. Don't do the weldment, do the standard. We're going to hit Create on that. Okay. And once we do that, we're going to make our top of our table. So I'm going to do DRTR top. Okay, dining room table race top. Once I have that done, the same name is already open. Okay, I'll put a 2 at the end of it. There we go. So now I've got that open. I'm just going to click. Okay, and you're going to see here, I'm now in a part environment. So I have my part file over here. I'm not in the assembly anymore. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. To get started, I'm going to use the 2D the Start 2D Sketch tool right up here, and this surface is going to appear. It doesn't really matter which surface you start on. Some people are very much sticklers about that. I am not. And I'm just going to draw a 60-inch circle. So I'm going to try to keep the dimensions for this project fairly simple, but I'm not going to go crazy like I did in Challenge Chair and make it all stupid numbers. So I have a 60-inch circle. I'm going to do a 6-inch circle in the middle of it. Once I have that done, I'm going to hit Finish Sketch. And I'm going to extrude. One thing I think is important is remember when you click return or extrude any of those stuff's going to move around. You just kind of got to be ready to hold on and see what's going to happen. Okay, so I've got that. I'm going to select kind of the donut aspect of this, not including the hole. I'm going to select this to extrude away from us by 6 inches. You could totally do towards us. It wouldn't make any difference. And just like that, we have the first part of our CAD model done. I got to get this. I'm sure you guys can't see this zoom window thing, but for me, it's like right in the way. Move that over the other screen. Now I'm going to make this a fun color. You can do any way under the sun. Montoya changes it over here. I like this feature right here. You select the whole thing and you can drag this around. You can pick any ugly color you want. We'll get a really nice ugly brown. Wow, that is horrendous. I love it. Okay, so I've got that going on. I've got my part done, and this is kind of where our first important step happens. Right now, we're still in that part file. We're going to hit return up here. It's going to step us back into our assembly. We're going to come right up here, and we're going to create a new part. Okay, and this is going to be called DR. DRTR. And I'm going to call this mast. It's kind of the center mast of the table. It's not a very good table term. I'm sure the hardcore woodworkers like my dad would be on my case about it, but it'll be okay. So we've got that created. I'm going to pick a surface, and all of a sudden you're going to see my part actually pop up over here. So now I've got that. And you can click any surface because the first thing you're going to do when you come in here to draw is you're going to reselect a surface. And I'm going to select the top surface of the table here. I've got this white rectangle. That's just a work plane. If it really bothers you, you could turn off the visibility of it, just like that. A lot of times I just draw through it. Now, our next step is going to be drawing a 12 by 12 cube in the middle of our circle. And I'm going to set that up so it is 6 inches off in every direction. Now, it just so happens that we have the center plane here. Sometimes we won't have that. And that's where the project geometry tool comes in. A really good habit, especially when we're working in this situation here, where we have multiple parts, is to come in and project the geometry of your past part forward so we can actually dimension to it. In this case, we didn't need to. That's just a coincidence, but I'm letting you know project geometry right up here is our best friend when we're working in an assembly environment. So I'm going to set this dimension right here to be 6 inches. And I'm going to set this dimension right here to be 6 inches. I'm going to set this dimension right here to be 6 inches. You see I'm doing that by referencing a previous dimension. You don't have to, but it makes life easier. It saves a click. You could also come in here, click this little guy here, and pick up 6. There we go. We got a nice 12 by 12 cube in the middle. And hit finish sketch, extrude. And I'm going to be extruding this as well as the center. And I'm going to extrude that out 32 inches. The reason 32 is because 16 times 2 is 32. I think. Pretty sure I'm confident on that one. Maybe. Yeah, it's definitely 32. So 16 times 2, 1.6 was the factor we used in our chair or our challenge chair a lot. And that's just where I'm getting this kind of weird number. So 16 times 2, 32 inches. I'm going to extrude that out towards me. Okay, once I have that done, I'm going to grab a new 2D sketch. I'm going to go on the bottom of this big square mask thing. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to draw a rectangle coming in from the edge, just like that. I'm going to come over here, do the same thing. Come over here and do the same thing. Come over here and do the same thing. Okay, now I've just done this 4 times. You certainly don't need to, but I did. In this case, I'm going to extrude all of these guys back 1.6 inches. And I think we're about to run into a little problem over here. And indeed we are. What happened is when I was drawing this, I got a slight little dotted line that connected from here to here. What that's saying is that's using a snap. It's causing this rectangle to constrain itself to this. And that's not really what we want. But I'm going to press on and not restart my video like I'm tempted to do. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to select everything on this sketch just like that. I'm going to right click and I'm going to delete it. I think this is an important tool because very often we get kids in CAD who kind of get stuck in a rut of having to do it right the first time, and they don't get good at going back and fixing mistakes. And long term, being able to go back and fix the mistake is a super useful endeavor. So right there, you can see there's a snap. In this case, this would be a snap that's actually pretty helpful because it's from two squares across from each other. So let's redimension this. This is going to be 1.6 times 2. This is going to be 1.6 times 2. Again, you could be faster if you wanted to. Slap that dimension in, and then come over here and click the initial one we've done. So now all these 3 outer dimensions are referencing this guy over here. These squares need to come in that same dimension. And this is where we get into kind of the confusing 2D sketches where a lot of students start to struggle. I think it's important that you kind of just have some tenacity here and stick with it. It's not that bad. It's going to be okay. Okay, so now we've got these squares drawn, although you can see they're kind of all over the place. They're not placed in a very even fashion. Okay, so we need to dimension them in place. And I actually don't know what this dimension is going to be right here. I don't have this memorized. I haven't figured this out ahead of time. So I'm going to do it with you right now. The way I'm going to do it is I know that this is a 12-inch by 12-inch cube. I know that. So I'm going to put in 12 inches. Now I'm going to subtract the distance of this little gap here. And then I'm going to put some parentheses in place. The parentheses are going to enforce order of operations, good old PEMDAS. Okay, I'm going to do divide by 2. Now what it's going to do is it's going to magically make this dimension the perfect number to center up this square. There you can see that. Now I'm just going to repeat the process here, just like that. And now those are in the perfect spot. I'm going to hit finish sketch now, and I'm going to extrude these back into the part 1.6 inches. So 1.6 You can see right now they're sticking out, but I actually want them cutting in. Make them cut in, click finish sketch, and that looks really good. Now, to be more reminiscent of the dining room table that my family had when I was a kid, I'm going to go ahead and put some chamfers on the outside edge of this, and I want you to do the same. I want those chamfers, I got to bring this in from my other screen here, to be 1.6 inches back. You can see here I'm doing a distance. That means it's referencing two distances. It's going to be 1.6 back here, 1.6 back here. Once I have that done, I'm going to click apply. And just like that, the center mast is almost done with one slight exception. Right now, when Jimmy and Johnny get too rowdy at the dinner table, you know, fighting over who gets the last piece of broccoli, the table's going to fall off the top. We don't want that. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab the top surface of this and I'm going to draw a circle. Now, it's obviously important that my circle lines up with the old tabletop. And that's where, again, our good friend project geometry comes in. Just like that, I'm going to grab the concentric tool. That's right up here. It's a circle and a circle. I'm going to grab my circle and I'm going to make it concentric with that hole in the tabletop. In this case, I'm going to make this 6 inches. The reason I'm making it 6 inches is because that's the size the hole in the table is going to be. I'm going to click finish sketch right now, and I'm going to extrude that. If you remember when we were doing this, we made the tabletop 6 inches thick. So I could put 6 inches in right here, but I'm actually going to do something differently. I'm going to use the 2 tool right here. Doesn't really matter what you do, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click there, and now it's automatically going to pop up to that perfect height. This way I don't need to have a good memory and remember what I've done in the past. You can click return now, and you can see my table is coming together. We're going to make this a really, really nice, horrendous shade. So I'm going to select my part here. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to adjust the color to a nice, a wonderful pea green. Wow. That is just glorious. I cannot wait to sell it. Okay. I'm going to fight through the carpal tunnel here and get the leg done. The leg is a little bit trickier, okay? What I'm going to do to start out with my leg is I'm going to do an extrusion that comes out right here. But notice, all these parts, they're not grayed out. They're still here. We're in an assembly. We need to create a new part. Come up here to create. Dining room table race leg. Click OK. Come in here, grab this surface. I promised you I wasn't going to do that. I said I was going to start here. So I'm going to, I guess I haven't selected my 2D sketch yet, so I still have time. Worst comes to worst, I could always delete my 2D sketch and start afresh. There we go. I selected that back surface in there, right in there, okay? Use my view cube, rotate back. I've got this white square in here annoying me. Mr. Montois would really want us to get rid of that, so I will. I've turned off the visibility, but now I can't really see what I'm doing. Project geometry saves our day, okay? I project the geometry of that, and uniquely enough, I'm actually done with this sketch. All I needed to do is project that geometry. Now I can come in here and I can extrude this out. As I showed you in my last thing, we can use the 2 tool right here to not have to measure or not have to remember stuff. We can just tell it I would like to extrude to that surface. And just like that, we have the start of our leg done. This is kind of the tenon or the thing that would fit in and hold everything in place. Once we have that done, I'm going to grab a 2D sketch, grab on the side of our tenon, the side of the start of our leg, and I'm going to go ahead and draw myself 2 squares. Okay. My first square I'm going to draw is going to be 12 inches by 12 inches. Notice how I'm grabbing onto kind of the corner edge of that leg right there. So 12 inches by 12 inches. You guys see how my lines are stepped right now? All that's telling me is that I'm not actually looking at that face flat. So I'm going to click top and re-zoom in, and now everything is perfect. My next step, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to draw a square coming off of, radiating off that corner up there. It's going to be 11 inches by 11 inches. Now, you're saying, this is a lot of work. I'm not sure about this. It's so many dimensions, so complicated. I got to do it 4 more times. You don't have to do it 4 more times. We're going to cheat. I'm going to come in here, toss a nice arc between there. I'm going to set that arc to be 16 inches. I'm going to click Finish Sketch now, and I'm going to extrude this shape and this shape down to the other side of that. I'm going to invert my direction here. I'm going to make sure I'm actually producing material. And I could input my thickness there, which should be 3.2. Or, as I'm really trying to push you to do, use the 2 tool and just click on that bottom surface. There. Now we have a nice table leg that has kind of ended corners so they don't come to a point and break off when kids are wrestling underneath the dining room table at Thanksgiving. I've got my leg. I've returned from my part environment up to my assembly environment. And now I can go ahead and I could grab this leg, go Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, and paste all those in there. But that's way too much work for my wrist right now. I've got carpal tunnel really bad right now, and it is bothering the death out of me. So I'm going to delete those. I'm going to do it the easy way. Ready for this? All I'm going to do, come up here to Pattern, select a circular pattern. I'm going to select my item I would like to pattern. That's component right here. So I'm going to select the leg. I'm going to select the direction axes direction right there. And I could pick the center nub. I could pick the outside of the table. Either would work. And you can see it just so happens it defaults to 4. It's going to pop 4 in there. And that would be perfect for us. We could put 6 in. It's just going to look really bad. Oh, no. 6 actually works great. The reason 6 works great is because it still has a 90-degree distance between them. See that? 90 degrees right there. I could change this to like 120 and then it would look terrible and all sorts of stuff. But we really want 90 degrees and we really actually just want 4 units. And just like that, the chair is done. I have no idea what my time is. I don't have a timer. I'll do it based on a YouTube timer once I publish and upload this. But that is that. It's really simple. Again, it's only 3 parts. One of them being a pattern. There you can see our DRTR leg. The last thing I want to know is right now, all of our parts are adaptive. And what that means is that that part is referencing other parts in our CAD model. Sometimes that can be annoying as we go to build things on. So I just want to show you really quickly how to turn that off. All I do, I come in here, right click, go to adaptive. Right click, go to adaptive. We have noticed on some of our school computers that the fact that this little taskbar, it's not going to pop up for me now. The taskbar can pop up at the bottom of your screen. It can actually block your ability to scroll through that menu and click adaptive. So what Mr. Case has taught me to do is go in and actually turn on the taskbar to pop up only when I put my cursor down there. I'm not sure if students have the authority to do that yet, so that's something I'm going to look into, but just to be aware of. But that's it. Your second big CAD project done. Now what I want you to do, I want you to draw this a couple times. I know it's a couple components. I know it's a little bit of work, but if you want to be good at CAD, if you want to be someone who's designing parts that are getting on the robot, if you want to be running the 3D printer, or making Cranstons, to organize, I don't know, your squishmallows on the dash of your car with the 3D printer, you got to be able to draw stuff, right? So that's really the crux of it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for sticking with me, trying through this. Try to do this a couple times and get good at it. It's a lifelong skill that will serve you very well. Thank you and have a good day. Now I got to figure out how to end the video though. That's always the hard part. Bye.